to your mailbox is a big leap of faith for people. I mean, so giving access to your Facebook page is one thing, but to your email account, you were asking people to say, you can have full access to my email account all the time. How's that going to go over, and is that an impediment to adoption?
Well, to answer the first question, the killer application that we're going after right now, I think, is CRM. Document management is a close second, but CRM, because you cannot force everyone. A document management system, you could ask everyone to say, log in there and put your documents there. CRM, the customer relationship, happens with people outside, and that's happening by email. So what happens in your mailbox is very important and needs to show up in these applications. That's a key thing. And in terms of sales, the strengths of the relationship that you have. So if you're working on a deal with someone and you want to know who else in your company has good ins with that company, analytics on your mailbox will tell you that information. These are, I think, killer applications. In terms of access, that's a good question. The Gmail contextual gadgets have a very good success at getting applications that run and do have access to your mailbox. And I think one of the key reasons is because they made it with OAuth, so you don't need to give the credentials, you can just give a token. So I think Yahoo Mail is coming out soon with the same kind of credential-based OAuth authentication. And a lot of applications do right now email integration by asking people to BCC and forward emails to them. And that means you give a copy of every single thing to the application. That's even worse, because what we get is only metadata we keep. And if you change the lock and you just stop using us, you don't have the trust that we're going to delete this, because we don't have those emails, we don't have those attachments. It's only metadata we keep.
Thanks.
So Neil, he was mentioning something about how investors may ask how big a market this is. You're an investor, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's actually a lot of opportunity here, and maybe some comments that are they're a little bit different than questions. When I think about businesses that are API driven, and you're talking about getting in between one application and another application, my gut tells me that the way that you get big and really find a market isn't about chasing individual users. It's going to be about chasing partners. And in this case, I would see a ton of value if I was one of those cloud-based applications, whether it's CRM or document management or some other sort of workflow that really thrives on consuming lots of data. And the more data I get, the richer I am, probably the stickier I am. So to that end, who are the partners that you really want to focus on that are going to be better sales leverage for you and that are going to help you identify the killer app and that are going to really have a vested interest in getting their customers' emails integrated into their solutions?
Partners in terms of applications?
Yeah.
I mean, right now we're working with a lot of applications that are productivity, CRM, and document management systems. I think anybody that's SaaS-based, that's working, for example, CRM. We took the list of all the CRMs at Google Apps Marketplace, and we're starting to get in touch with them, because I think all their clients, and they're already targeting a group of people that are good with working with cloud-based hosted applications. Does that answer the question at all? Or?
Yeah, and I would certainly kind of think more about as you push on the go-to-market side of this, and completely respect that at a 3-person company, when you're trying to move to this stage, you kind of can't do the stuff that needs to get done next year today. Yeah. But I would really focus on that as a real important way to scale, because going out one corporate customer at a time and convincing a developer to do a custom build to integrate what you've got into their application workflow is a process you may have to repeat, with long sales cycles and a lot of convincing and a lot of technical work. But on the other side, if this API is already nicely integrated into a solution that has a large sales force and they've got a vested interest in pulling in more email data, I think it's a great point of leverage for you.
I think the biggest partnerships we can start with are not necessarily applications, but email hosting providers. People like Zimbra, Google Apps, Rackspace Apps, people that do right now have a lot of hosted emails. They're all trying to create an ecosystem of applications that develop applications that are working with these mailboxes that they host and charge for. This is, I think, key partnerships. So making that API something available to their own developers, more than applications for now, but working with these people that are really selling email hosting services. And these are good partnerships to build.
Okay.
So you talked about a series of APIs, and I assume that what was scrolling down the screen was, in fact, kind of a laundry list of those. So I want to make sure I'm thinking about this the right way, since you know, email is kind of a gold mine of information for a lot of different reasons. But from a consumer standpoint, if I'm looking at just the kind of the coordination issue and wanting to get access, perhaps not through my email box, but rather I want it to be perhaps decompose my email into some structures that are related to something else I might want to do, right?
Yeah.
So my emails are coming from contacts, people that I have relationships with. I may have other forms of conversation going on with those same contacts. There may be subjects that we're discussing that may also appear on my calendar. There are documents, right, that may have other contexts that could be related to a collection of something that I have. So are the API services that allow you to kind of pull those pieces apart and be able to then kind of decompose the elements of the email so I can do other things with them?
Not today in ours, but that's something that we really want to get at some point. I think email is a really great place to start. There's a lot of things that go around it. Calendar is one. IM. Your phone would be great as well. But yeah, I think starting with giving a good analytics and information in the mailbox, and there are other sources that we can connect with. That's the definite in the roadmap in terms of midterm and long term,
Okay.
yes.
Well, I'd certainly like to talk to you about just exactly what you have now and what you're thinking, because you know, the email conversation is a very important form of communication as a communications company.
Yeah.
Trying to find ways that we can begin to aggregate the different forms of communication in the cloud. So I'd be very interested.
I'd be happy to.
You just saw it here first, guys. Deal being done. Deal alert.